the South African National Biodiversity Institute has unveiled a membership scheme. Now, this membership aims to encourage visitors to increase inclusivity by making the gardens more affordable at South Africa's National Botanical and Zoological Gardens. Joining us is the Institute's Marketing, Communications and Commercialization Director, Nontsikelelo Mpulo. A very good afternoon, Nontsikelelo. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newzroom Afrika. I mean, this change of heart in strategy, talk to us a little bit about what's led to this idea of a scheme and the card, of course, which has its own aims to encourage more visitors.
Good afternoon, Mpulo, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to your viewers. There hasn't been a change of heart. It's always been the aim of the National Biodiversity Institute to be inclusive of people coming into our gardens, to give them an opportunity to enjoy the beautiful biodiversity that is within our gardens, and to give education to learners and other people who want to learn about our conservation programs in the gardens, an opportunity to do so. We have noted in the last while that there's been constraints in people's economic circumstances. And so we found an opportunity to do it now, that we obviously are wanting to contribute to the financial sustainability of our own organization, but that is just superseded also by the fact that we just want to open up the gardens to as many people as possible, all walks of life, and people to just come and enjoy green spaces. You know, the pandemic showed us that people of all walks of life really need to be in green spaces, in open spaces, in order to reconnect with just their souls. And so this is what we want to do with this membership program, is to make sure that people are able to access that kind of wellness in our gardens.
How will this membership scheme work? What are the different tiers, and how are you making it more affordable and accessible to the public?
So the price to get into our the most expensive access is 100 Rand for the National Zoological Garden as well as Kirstenbosch. So for a mere 800 Rand for the year, adults will be able to get into those spaces. The least affordable is about 50 Rand. Least expensive is about 50 Rand to get into one of our gardens. The Free State Garden, for example, is 50 Rand. So the 800 Rand is going to mean if you go to a garden 5 times a week, and people do come into the garden 5 times a week, it'll cost you about 3 Rand to get in. So that's why it is a really affordable scheme. For students, we're charging 600 Rand, and then for children, 400 Rand. Those that are younger than 6 can get into the National Botanical Gardens for free, and those that are younger than 2 can get into the National Zoological Garden for free. And so, as it's been the ethos of the organization to just make sure that people can have safe and affordable spaces, green spaces in a city environment. The majority of our gardens are in urban based. So there's urban green spaces for people to be able to enjoy for a really affordable price.
Yeah. Just a little earlier, you made mention of the impact of COVID-19 and how that has essentially shaped people's lifestyles. I mean, people looking to relax more and, enjoy beautiful spaces, lifestyle-orientated. That's the sort of direction that COVID-19 has resulted in. Why is it so important to visit these spaces? I mean, what makes the gardens so special?
So there's research that's been done that shows that spending time in green spaces is really good for your mental well-being and for your, being able to breathe oxygen that's generated by the trees in an open space like that is good for your physical well-being as well. And so that's why there's a concept that they call forest bathing, which the name was originated in Japan. But it's actually something that's practiced across the world, is that you're just spending time in green spaces And also spending time with family in green spaces makes for better communities. It makes for better mental health and physical well-being.
And what can one look forward to when visiting these gardens? I mean, there's the botanical as well as the zoological gardens. What is there to look forward to?
Also, we have a variety of experiences that people can enjoy in our gardens. You can picnic in the cultivated part of our gardens, and in the natural estate, there's many of our gardens, the Free State, for example, Walter Sisulu in Woerdepoort, and the Pretoria National Botanical Garden. There's spaces for people to be able to hike, and so you can do a short, intense hike at Walter Sisulu, 3.5 kilometers. You get the workout of a lifetime, and if you want to take a stroll, you just walk in the paved parts of the gardens for a relaxed space to be in. That's some of them. Then we have restaurants in the gardens, so just if you want to have a lovely meal. Most of our gardens don't even actually play music because, the bird song that you can hear in the garden, some of them, you don't even notice that you're in a city because the spaces are just so tranquil. So yes, and then at the National Zoological Garden, obviously there's animals. There's a huge education component that happens there where we have a lot of school children that come to do conservation education through our zoo club. And so those are some of the experiences that we can have. Sometimes in some spaces we will have events. The Pretoria National Botanical Garden hosts a number of concerts. We have the Kirsten Bosch concert series that happens between October and March of every year. So there's a variety of experiences for everybody's needs.
While we're still talking about the zoos, I mean, I know that there have been more so in the community WhatsApp groups a lot of talk about food shortages for the animals. And, is that still a factor? Are you still looking for people to make drop-offs of any sort of, natural vegetation that they may be chopping down trees of a certain specified nature? Is that still something to consider as, people are chopping down trees and looking to make some donations?
Look, there is all the animals in the zoo are given a specific diet that is worked out by our veterinarians and is strictly monitored. So it is quite unlikely that we will be taking any kind of donation that isn't within those parameters. So we'll make specific calls for specific vegetation, not just, your garden refuse is not going to be acceptable.
Yes.
You can't just cut down any kind of tree. So when we do make a call, we will specify the kind of vegetation that we would want. But generally, we purchase the fruit that is allocated for the animals, specifically, strictly to the dietary requirements as specified by the veterinarians.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much for joining us there, Nontsikelelo Mpulo, who's the Director of Marketing, Communications and Commercialization.